Okay, the distance formula. If you ever take the ACT, you're probably going to need to know what the distance formula is. That being said, also the midpoint formula that we did on 10 and 12, you will find one of those problems in the ACT. Okay, so distance formula. Again, it takes me longer to explain what it is than to actually do the problems. And if we had 6, 4, let's say that that is about right there, and 3, 8, I didn't give myself enough room. So this is 6, 4, I just eyeballed it, and 3, 8. My pen's deciding not to work. Even worse than what it was, right? Okay, and so if we connected those points, we want to know how long that red line is. And what it comes from the Pythagorean theorem that we haven't done yet. So I'm not going to get into it real deep. So all you need to know is what the distance formula is. And the distance formula equals the square root of x2 minus x1, then you square it. So you take your x's, you subtract them, then you square. You take your y's, you subtract them, you square. You add those two answers up, and then you square root it. Okay? So here we go. x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Now, if you don't care at all about knowing how to add or subtract or square numbers and stuff, you can just throw this into one of my calculators or your calculators. You know, it'd be a shame to know how to do 3 minus 6. I know I'm being sarcastic. But, you know, if you practiced it every once in a while, you might retain a little bit of knowledge on that. So 3 minus 6 is negative 3. 8 minus 4 is 4. Negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. 4 times 4 is 16. 9 plus 16 is 25. And the square root of 25 is 5 because 5 times 5 is 25. So the length of this line right here is 5 units because we use the distance formula. Now, I did that long ways, and I know most of y'all are going to grab your calculators. So, but that's how you do it long ways. So I'm going to speed it up a little bit. 8 minus 2, and this 8 right here comes from this 8. Be careful. 8 minus 2, always plus. 0 minus 8 squared, and this 8 is that 8. So be careful with those numbers. Keep the square root so you don't forget to do that. 8 minus 2 is 6. 0 minus 8 is negative 8. 36 plus 64. 100. The square root of 100 is 10. I said I was going to do it faster, but I did it step by step. Negative 9 minus 0 squared plus 5. Okay, now pay attention to this. We always put a minus sign, right? Because that's the formula. But this number is a negative 7. So we put the black minus sign because that's the formula, and the green negative because the number is negative 7. And a negative times a negative, or two negatives are right next to each other, make a positive. I'll just go ahead and keep on doing it the long way. 225. 15 times 15 is 225, so our answer is 15. Minus a negative 7, so plus 7. 3 minus 10. Negative, I'm going to do it a little bit faster this time because really you're just wanting to know how to set it up. And then if you can do it in your head, you can do it in your head. So negative 9 plus 7 is negative 2, and negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. 3 minus 10 is negative 7, and negative 7 times negative 7 is a 49. And we don't have a whole number that multiplies together to get 53. So write your answer as a whole number, which we can't, or simply fully simplified radical expression. And this is when, you know, I really don't mind you using your calculator, just to make sure that it doesn't break down into anything else. And it does not. That's wrong. Two minus 0 squared plus 8 plus 3 squared, because we're going to change that sign right there. 2 minus 0 is 2, squared is 4. 8 plus 3 is 11, squared is 121, equals 125. And if you simplify that in a calculator, you should get 5 square root of 5. Because your prime numbers to multiply to get 125 is 5, 5, and 5. We're taking the square root. We're looking for pairs. We have a pair of 5s. So this pair of 5s comes to the outside. This is what the calculator's doing for you. And that 5, since it didn't have a pair, stays inside. We should have learned to do these in about the 8th grade, guys. Negative 10 plus 2 squared. Negative 9 plus 7 squared. 8, so 64. 2, so 4, which is the square root of 68. I do not know if that breaks down into anything. So I am going to see. And it does. I do have a pair of 2s. So that pair of 2s turns out to be 1, 2 on the outside. And the 17, since it didn't have a pair, stays on the inside.